This is Venya, Amore, and this is Silent but Loud, a space where pain becomes purpose, where the whispers of grief grow into echoes of hope. You're alive, sugar, and your story will still speak. Venya said. They say silence is empty, but what if silence is full? Full of the words you never said, full of the tears you never cried in front of anyone, full of the healing you didn't even realize was happening. Welcome to Silent But Loud, the podcast. I'm your host, Venya Amore, author, creator, and woman who's learned that silence doesn't mean weak and healing doesn't mean perfect. I'm here with KeKe, a good friend who wanted to tag along for the ride. Thanks for being here.
Yes, indeed, girl.
This space is for every heart that's been quiet for too long. For the ones grieving in private, smiling through sadness, and learning how to breathe again after life hit hard. For the next few minutes, we're going to talk real talk about grief, depression, letting go, and learning to be loud again, even if it starts as a whisper. Let's talk about understanding grief.
That's such a fascinating perspective on silence. And you know what really strikes me? How we're all carrying these silent battles nobody sees, processing so much beneath the surface.
Well, speaking of processing, I think we need to challenge this belief that grief is just about death. Recent research shows we can experience up to 17 different types of grief, from lost relationships to abandoned dreams.
You know what caught my attention? How grief actually changes our brain chemistry, affecting everything from sleep patterns to the immune system.
Exactly. That's why time heals all wounds is so misleading. Studies show that pushing people to move on too soon can extend grieving by up to 40%.
And that explains why so many people grieve in private. The pressure to get over it is real when society wants you to bounce back on their schedule.
And here's the thing, private grief and depression often intersect. About 40% of grievers develop depressive symptoms, but many are high functioning and show no signs. In Silent But Loud, Imani wrote, I didn't know grief had a heartbeat until mine slowed down trying to remember how to live.
Ooh, girl.
That line still gives me chills because that's what grief feels like. A slow heartbeat, a soft ache, a reminder that you loved deeply.
That ties perfectly to last year's study showing 60% of people with depression keep their routine while fighting those inner battles.
Exactly, and healing is never linear. Recovery usually includes around 8 major setbacks before stability. But here's what I've learned. You don't have to rush grief. You don't have to hide it or dress it up. Sit with it, talk to it, let it teach you how to feel again. Because healing starts with honesty.
So those 2 steps forward, 1 step back moments are normal parts of the journey?
Precisely. Neuroplasticity studies show those setbacks help rewire the brain for resilience.
That really reframes failure. It's not about perfect progress, it's about adaptation.
Yes, indeed. Now, let's talk about depression and the quiet fight. Speaking of adaptation, did you know silence itself is therapeutic? 15 minutes of true quiet can spark new brain cell growth in regions for memory and emotion.
That puts a whole new spin on quiet moments. It's not just emotional healing, it's physical brain growth.
Depression. That's a word we still whisper, but so many people live with it out loud every day. It doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it looks like strength, showing up, smiling, doing your best while your soul quietly screams for rest. I've been there. When mornings feel like mountains, when silence becomes your safest place. Not because it's peaceful, but because it's predictable.
And studies show people who embrace their silent healing periods see 30% better long term recovery.
That challenges our culture's push for constant noise and quick fixes. In silent but loud, Imani said. The world kept moving while I stood still. I was present but not living. I smiled, but the smile wasn't mine. That's depression in words. But here's what you need to know: your silence doesn't make you invisible. You are not your sadness. You are still growing, still becoming, still love, even here.
Absolutely. And emerging research on collective grief shows that communities embracing private healing have 45% lower rates of complicated grief.
That proves how vital it is to make space for individual healing, even in silence. Let's switch over to the rebuild. You know, after the breakdown comes the rebuild. It doesn't happen in one big miracle moment. It happens slowly through journaling, therapy, prayer, small wins, small joys, through saying, I'm not there yet, but I'm not where I was either. In silent but loud, echoes of grief, whispers of hope. Through depression, Amani's healing wasn't perfect. She cried, she paused, she started over. But that's what made it powerful. Healing isn't about pretending the pain never existed. It's about learning to live without letting it define you.
And the future of mental health is headed there too. Private healing is vital to our well being.
Yes, sometimes you won't recognize the new version of yourself, and that's okay. You're not meant to go back to who you were before the pain. You're meant to evolve into who you're becoming because of it.
And that's the truth. Our silent struggles aren't weakness, they're growth in motion.
Now, KeKe, what about freedom and purpose? You know what? Freedom comes when you stop hiding your story. When you realize every tear had a purpose, every season had a lesson, and every silence was building your strength. You don't have to erase your pain to find your peace. You just have to stop giving your past the power to hold your present hostage. Armani said, I found my power in quiet places. My silence became my sanctuary. That's what freedom sounds like. Not noise, but peace. And maybe that's the whole message of this episode. Your healing doesn't have to be loud. Your growth doesn't have to be visible. You can be silent but loud. You can live quietly but impact loudly. You can heal privately but shine publicly. You are proof that silence can still speak.
And as we wrap up, every listener out there is carrying their own silent battle, recognizing that shared experience can reduce isolation by 70%.
That's the perfect note to end on. Even in private healing, we're all connected by our shared humanity. Thanks so much for joining me today, KeKe.
No problem, Venya. Thanks for having me. This book is a page turner.
If this episode spoke to you, remember, you're not alone. Healing is not linear. Grief is not weakness. Your silence has meaning, and your voice still matters. For everyone walking through grief or depression, I wrote silent but loud echoes of grief, whispers of hope through depression, just for you. Part poetry, part truth, part mirror, and all heart. You can grab your copy now. It is on Amazon or via my store for signed copies. The link is in the show notes. Be gentle with yourself today. Rest when you need to. Speak when you're ready. And as always, Venya said it: healing in silence. Silence isn't empty, it's sacred. a place where hearts learn their own language, where pain hums softly and healing whispers your name. You are not broken, you are becoming. And if the world can't hear your healing yet, let it echo in your stillness. Because even in quiet, you are silent but loud.
I remember I'm alive. It's not a roar, not a scream, not even a whisper. Just a steady tap, a rhythm beneath my ribs, gently